Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to you all to the second session of PeopleCert's ITIL Tool Day 2024. My name is Ashley Bassett and I'm your host for today's event. I've been working in the IT service management industry for more than 20 years, predominantly with companies in the training and consulting side of the industry. I'm currently a member of the product team at PeopleCert, focused on our channel partner schemes, our products, services, and the adoption of our frameworks by enterprises. And I support the business development teams with their enterprise solutions, including our channel partners. We've had a jam-packed morning with 7 presenters from our partners sharing some case studies, insights, and thought leadership on the future of IT service management. This afternoon's speakers will be continuing this theme with a more exciting, deeper look at the future trends in our industry, service management's role in a more digitally oriented business, and of course, how AI will influence, become embedded, and be the norm in our services in the not too distant future. I started this morning's session highlighting these numbers. This is a phenomenal achievement for PeopleCert and the ATV program. The ATV program launched less than 18 months ago, so these numbers are staggering. With 13 different partners presenting to you today, this is a testament to the breadth of partners already in our scheme. But breathtakingly, today we have over 6,200 registrations from over 100 countries. So welcome, and for those who joined us this morning, welcome back. And thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. Like many businesses, PeopleCert is adapting to continuous change and investing heavily to meet market demands and accommodate our customers. At the highest level, this means improving and widening our customer engagement channels. Our training and certification products remain the largest channel, and we have significant programs to continually enhance our product families for our partners and our customers. This year alone, we launched 15 new ITIL practitioner certifications, updated our globally recognized project management method to Prince2 7th edition. We completed the acquisition and integration of the DevOps Institute into our products to enhance our service management proposition, as well as adding learning and delivery platforms to improve our customer experience. This year, we've strengthened the ACP program, and in 2025, we'll be significantly revamping the scheme, incorporating more content, tools, and templates for these partners to be more effective when offering consulting services to our enterprise customers. But today is all about our ATV channel and our technology partners. Technology's role in our industry is essential for enterprises to realizing the benefits from ITIL and service management initiatives. The ATV scheme offers our enterprise customers an easier route and the confidence to selecting potential technology vendors that are aligned to ITIL best practices. And for our partners, a formal accreditation that their tools are fit for purpose for the significant investments made by our customers. Also, it gives our partners the opportunity to proudly present their tools to large audiences, as well as contribute to thought leadership events such as these, and adding value to our communities. With so many registrants, we anticipate many attendees coming and going throughout the afternoon, so I apologise ahead for repeating myself during the course of the day. It is by design. I'm not going mad and I'm not so easily forgetful, but we'll help get some key messages to everyone. So first, save the date. ITIL Tool Day 2025 is now scheduled for the 3rd of December 2025. Today is being recorded and we will make these available after the event. We'll send the links to you as well as some other content, including some really interesting research we conducted earlier this year called Unlock the Power of ITIL. For further information on the ATV scheme, including the list of partners and the details, or for information on how to join the scheme, please visit atv.peoplecert.org. So let's kick off this afternoon's session. Starting in a moment with BMC, each partner will be given 20 minutes to present on a specific topic, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. You can send your questions in via the chat, and we'll do our best to pose our presenters during the Q&A. This morning's session, we had loads of great questions, some of which were quite technical or requiring a personalised or contextual response. Unfortunately, we can't answer them all, but please do, I encourage you to put your questions forward. Even if we don't get round to them, we will ask the presenters to review them during the day, or indeed at the end of this session. As part of the survey, you'll be given the option if the partners can contact you directly to answer those responses. So without further delay, may I introduce our first speaker, James Swales from BMC, to the screen or to the stage. Jamie has worked with BMC Technology for 15 years, both as a customer and as an employee. He's gained experience across service delivery, technical sales, and supports business development. And today, Jamie is going to provide a perspective on key trends that are shaping the future of service management and the exciting proposition in store for businesses, IT, and users. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, Ashley. And good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here, but thrilled to be presenting to a wonderful audience of IT service management professionals. Hopefully you can see my screen. So this is a sort of quick fire presentation on BMC Helix, and I'm going to give a perspective of, as Ashley has just explained there, on the future of service management. So I'm going to explore three key trends in general that we see within the software industry and how BMC is adapting its strategy accordingly. And then I'm going to bring it to life by showing you some of the things that we're working on. Quick intro from myself, Jamie Swales, sales manager supporting our service ops business across Northern Europe. My sole objective over the next 20 minutes is hopefully to leave you guys potentially with a better understanding of how BMC Helix could help you. I'm going to leave my contact details at the end here. So hopefully, if I do manage to whet the appetite, you can reach out to me and I can put you in contact with the right counterpart within BMC. I'm conscious that not everybody might not know who BMC are. So just by way of quick overview, we are a multi-billion-dollar software company based in, or headquartered within the States, but operate all around the world. We have been around for over 40 years, which is something that we're very proud of. We've had to continually reinvent in order to, keep up with competition and trends and different market factors. And we have lots of different areas that we specialize in from a solution point of view, including service and operations management. And what we've done in recent years is we've taken that heritage from service and operations management and we've brought them together on a modernized platform, container-based platform that we call our Helix platform. So you'll hear me refer to that as I go through. Three key trends. The first one is quite an obvious one, and I'm sure you would have heard a bit about that this morning in this morning's session, but the advancements of AI. So in the predictive, the causal, the generative, the agentic AI is really changing the way that we're interacting with software, both at home, but also very much within the workplace. On our Helix platform, we have something called Helix GPT, which is our agentic AI capability that we're investing in very heavily. And there's four main different personas from a service management point of view that we're really targeting. So we've got the end user, we've got the fulfiller or the agent, we've got the analyst, and we've got the application developer as well. The fourth area, the advancements that we're making in terms of how we can improve the proficiency of the application developer, is what's really opening up the potential for this second point here. And this is a brilliant opportunity, I think, for all of us as service management professionals to take a proposition to the business that says we can rationalize lots of point solutions in the name of data centricity. So I want to touch upon that area as well. And then the third area, which I think we have to discuss, is that around the data. So every time I speak to a customer, or they're trying to roll out advanced AI use cases, or they've done a POC with some advanced AI use cases, they quickly realize that it's limited to the quality of the data, but also the access that AI the access to the data that the AI can analyze. So in general, the trend is that lots of organizations and customers are seeing the value, the IP within the data, and they're sort of moving more towards data lakes or to data clouds. So I want to talk about how we are lining ourselves up for success with our data strategy around that trend. So first point here, and I'm just going to touch upon these 4 different personas that I mentioned. And these are the 4 personas that we're really focused on improving using Helix GBT. First one is that of the requester or the end user. And this is changing from what has been a sort of omni-channel approach as we've sort of pushed before in terms of trying to drive shift left, and having nice self-service portals and having virtual agents, potentially chat channels, phone lines into the desk. And, you know, in varying degrees of success, we've seen different organizations do very well at this. You know, from a virtual agent point of view, generally speaking, we've seen some success, but it requires or has required previously quite a bit of training in order to drive that success. With the advancements of machine learning and particularly generative AI, this has really opened up the potential to, you know, where it's shifting to, which is a real hyper-personalized sort of virtual agent experience through the real channel of the user's choice. And the channel that we're targeting very heavily to begin with is that of Copilot. And, you know, I'm sure lots of you on this call have either used Copilot or potentially are piloting Copilot. And this bot-to-bot integration is something which we have released already and something that we're working very heavily on. We're also looking at other channels as well, so the likes of Slack, Google Workplace, and others. Second persona is of the fulfiller or of the agent. So this is going from the agent needing to search multiple different forms, having multiple different browsers open, filling out forms, searching for knowledge, to having a set of bots that are actively working for the user, depending upon what they want to do. So pushing the right information to their fingertips as they work. They're a change analyst. We can, you know, go deeper than ever before in analyzing changes based off of the release management pipeline. We can provide best action recommendation to a major incident manager. We can trend incidents and incident clusters better than ever before. Third persona is the data analyst. So this is for probably all of us or anyone who analyzes data and dashboards. And this is going from spending that time trying to find the information, analyzing the information, to providing some detailed insights. It's actually a BMC customer who I think explained this in the potential in this area the best I've heard, in that, and this is in the context of problem management. This is taking them from 90% of the time trying to find the problem and 10% of the time fixing it, flipping it on its head to 10% of the time trying to find the issue, freeing up 90% of the time for them to fix the problem. So I just think that articulates that quite beautifully, providing the insights to drive continual service improvement like never before. And then the fourth area is that of the developer on the platform. So imagine being able to answer or to fill out some information on business requirements and having an application automatically created for you. So from the UI, in terms of the process that governs the application with the workflows and the rules defined, and also the data layer created. And then having a conversational style approach to changing things like workflow. And that is sort of a huge area of potential that we see to really drive automation into not only IT service management, but more broadly across any service management that is provided within an organization. And this is what provides the potential for this second area, which, as I mentioned, is a really good opportunity, I think, for all of us as service management professionals to take this value proposition to the business. That is, you can begin to consolidate lots of these point solutions within the organization. Now, point solutions, think of them as, you know, performing niche, probably quite important business requirements. Often they're very expensive. And the proposition you can bring is we can hit 80% of their requirements 20% of some of the shiny stuff, let's say, we might not be able to hit, but we'll more than make up with it by having access to a world-class case management solution that can, do assignments, do approvals, measure SLAs, that can have a lovely hyper-personalized end user experience, and you can reach your end users like never before through the likes of virtual agent channels. But also for data centricity. So they'll have access to a knowledge base that they've never had before. They'll have access to the plethora of information that's available on a system of record, and that's also connected out into the organization's data lake or data cloud, which is the point I'm going to go on to talk about in just a moment. So taking it from what we can see on the left to what we can see on the right, in the name of data centricity, but also in all the benefits that you get from application rationalization, reducing the technical debt of needing to have integrations from all of these different point solutions, of needing to have skills and application skills in these areas, let alone the supply management overheads, the contract management, the legal overheads that are required to manage all of these different suppliers. Okay, third area, all about the data. And this is really, really important. And as I mentioned, lots of organizations, I think, really have woken up to this point around AI, in that it's only limited very much to the quality of the data and the access of the data that it can analyze. And the trend that we're seeing is lots of organizations moving to data lakes or to data cloud. So keeping hold of that IP, being able to structure the information into that data cloud for the rest of the organization to be able to take advantage of. What you can see on the right-hand side is very much the BMC strategy here. So let's take an example. Let's say a user wants to know around the paternity policy, for example. So it comes in, through their channel, bot-to-bot integration. The Helix GPT is going to know whether or not the information or the answer to that question resides within the platform, or do we need to query out into the data lake. You compare that to other vendors, they are, have much more of a siloed approach, meaning that all of the data has to be on their platform, and in order for their advanced AI use cases to work. Several problems that we foresee with that. One is, from the data IP, from a data security point of view, do you want lots of vendors having access to your data and holding your data? From a cost point of view, it means that they're going to be likely charging you more, because effectively you're paying to have your data hosted twice. But above all of that, it's going to limit the potential to what these AI use cases can do, because they're going to only be able to analyze and process data which is in that silo. Hopefully that's clear. So let's bring this to life a little bit. I just want to show you some real life use cases based off of those 4 personas that I talked about. I'm actually going to skip the requester just for the purpose of time, but just picture, I think this one's probably easier to picture, but coming in through a Copilot channel or Teams channel, being able to access information, get access to the things that we need, us being able to align the intent with the action better than ever before, summarizing issues, been able to get an update on the issues, etc., etc. So let's go into the fulfiller use case, and there's lots of different bots and use cases that we've either released or we're working on, and I'm going to choose one here that we call ChatOps. This is for the major incident manager. So Alice is a major incident manager, and her preference is to use Teams to be able to collaborate and resolve the issues. So before I hit play, you can see this is Alice's workstation. In the bottom right here, Helix GPT has pushed her a notification to let her know that there's what we think is a major incident within the Apex banking service. So let's hit play. So she's going to hit that notification. It's opened up a chat, of which it's brought all of the major incident managers in, and it's provided some insights. Alice is telling the team that she's going to take this one, and then she's going to ask Helix GPT for some more information. Why do we think this is a major incident? Based off of real-time incident correlation, this is saying, this is a trend which isn't normal. There are been a big spike in the last hour. Here's the data to back up why we think it's a major incident. Next thing we're asking is who is the resolvers that we think can tackle this issue. And based off of previous resolution information, it's pulled in these two guys. And we can provide a summary of that incident, which they can obviously cross-launch into if they like. Next, we're going to ask it, what is causing this issue? And this is now analyzing information from our AI Ops application on the platform. It understands the dependencies within the applications. It's correlating the monitoring information, or effectively doing the event management. And it's convinced that this network device is the root cause. How do we fix it? We're now providing a best action recommendation. Based off of previous resolution, we're 75% sure that resetting the duplex mode on this particular device is going to resolve it. And by the way, we have a script. Would you like us to run it? We've had a tested script. Would you like us to run it to go and resolve the issue? So nice collaborative approach through her channel of choice, which is Teams in this example. Helix GPT pushing insights, bringing in resolvers, and also providing actions for Alice to work through the major incident. Next persona, which I want to look at, is that of the data analyst. So this is Samantha. She's a VP of customer service. She has got some anecdotal information that the performance on the service desk is starting to worsen. So she wants to come in and provide some data to back that up. So she's in an agent performance dashboard. She's asked GPT, Helix GPT here, for some insights. It's saying over the last 90 days, in general, things aren't looking rosy. The number of tickets that have created have gone up. The number of resolved has come down. And here's the report that backs that up. And also the number of first caller resolution is trending down as well. And here's the report to back that up. So now she's got an idea. She wants to bring her best performing agents together with the worst performing agents into sort of a buddy scheme. She's asking who are the best performing agents based off of first caller resolution and soft skills. And Helix GPT is saying it's Oliver Wilson, and here's the data. We've pulled this dashboard together based off of his stats to back that assertion up. It's also recommending other things. So you see, it's always recommending other pieces of analytics. And here it's saying there are other industry benchmarks that we think that you should be looking at based off of customer satisfaction. And off of that benchmark, it's Liam, who's the highest performing agent. And here's some reports to back that up. Now she's asking for the 5 lowest performing agents. Helix GPT understands the context of the conversation and is pulling in all the stats on first caller resolution, soft skills, and customer CSAT results this time. And again, providing the data to back up that conclusion. And then we can also provide other industry benchmarks, other industry insights. So providing or analyzing information, providing insights here to Samantha to help her to drive continual service improvement like never before. Okay, final example here is that of the application creator. So Steve, very popular chap. He is automating lots of different workflows right across IT service management and for other enterprise service management based use cases for other shared services. And he has got a new requirement here. The procurement team have kind of caught wind of his work. They want to automate a onboarding vendor process. So we're in Innovation Studio, or Steve's in Innovation Studio. So previously, we'd call this kind of drag and drop, where you'd have to bring all the workflow over and define the inputs and the outputs. But here he's just asking us, what is the best practice for a vendor onboarding process? We're going to generate that workflow, and then we can have a conversational style approach to change this workflow. So let's take out the CFO approver. He or she never approves it anyway. Let's push some information based off of the integrations that we've already defined. So in this case, it's going into an API into Oracle to get the information potentially that we need. And we also want to push vendor information into SAP. And then we're going to test the workflow. So conversational style approach, generate the workflow, push the information into SAP, and then we're going to test the workflow. And then we're going to test the workflow. So conversational style approach, generate the workflow, push the information into SAP, and then we're going to test the workflow. So generate the workflow that we want, and then tweak the workflow to rapidly accelerate how proficient Steve is and the impact that Steve can have to automate workflow from right across IT service management, but also out into the business. Also provide and build applications that can take out lots of point solutions and, expand the repertoire of what that value proposition is that you can bring to the business. So hopefully quite a good flavor there in the time that we've had. There are lots of other use cases which I haven't had the time to show you. So from a data quality point of view, things like the knowledge curator, very powerful, helping you to improve the quality of the data by identifying obsolete, by identifying duplicates, improving the searchability with things like tags, improving the actual the readability and the content of the workflow, and also being able to generate knowledge based off of incident resolution information. CMDB auditor, again, helping to polish, improve information, identify gaps, identify duplicates. Change risk advisor is a really, really powerful one. We can hook into release management pipelines, analyze the information in there as well to provide the change analyst with a better understanding of risk management around change than ever before, amongst many other things. But generally speaking, we can analyze the information on the plethora of information that's available on Helix, but also into your data lake and other sources as well, and very much integrate into your UI. Final plug, if I may, Ashley. We have something called the Helix Admin Forum, which is next Thursday. It's going to be at 10 a.m. UK time, 11 a.m. CET. We've got one of our customers who's coming on to talk around how they're leveraging Helix GPT with Virtual Agent. They're also talking around how they've leveraged Helix AI Ops. If you would like to attend that, please let me know. So reach out to my email address. It's james_swales@bmc.com. Or if you want to know any other information based off of what I've presented, then feel free to reach out to me as well.
Jamie, brilliant. Thanks very much indeed. We've got some questions that have come in and just a few minutes remaining left. It says here, is it possible to fine-tune Helix GPT with company policies to be prioritized over LLM knowledge?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say yes, but that's probably one that we need to follow up with. Okay. I mean, in general, what's used is, or our strategy is, bring your own LLM, as opposed to providing our own LLM. So, we would take advantage of the training and the company policies that you've already written within your own large language model. If you would then want to override that for some reason, I can't think of off the top of my head now as to why you'd do that. Then I would presume we would train the individual bot within the individual use case to be able to do it. But I think that's one probably that requires follow-up, Ashley.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just to follow up on that specifically, there were a few questions this morning that asked about security with company. So you have this data lake with a multitude of vendors. When you're engaging with a customer, how do you ring fence so that data secure specifically that customer?
Yeah, it's a good question. So in general, the way that you ring fence it and I guess when you're saying customer, you mean from a service management customer's point of view, so who their end user is. How would you stop an end user from seeing information, say very sensitive information like HR on one of their colleagues, for example? So that is role-based. It's based off of, whatever role they have is, you're going to restrict the information that they can access as they come into query it, either from the end user perspective or from the fulfiller, the agent's persona, or from the analyst persona as well.
Jamie, brilliant, very informative. Thank you very much for your time and being first in this afternoon session. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
So perfect. So next up we have Matt from Invgate. Matt, Beren is the Senior Product Marketing Specialist and has over 20 years experience in service management, including positions on the service desk as a consultant and an experienced designer. Matt is now a Senior Product Specialist at Invigate and is also a host of Ticket Volume, a podcast where he discusses a wide range of topics such as service management, asset management, and the list is endless. Matt is going to present first-hand experiences on how modern service management software simplifies service delivery, streamlines workflows, and enhances operations. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Ashley. And thank you, PeopleCert, for hosting this event. And thank you to our audience for your attention today. Sometimes this stuff is hard to listen to all day long when you're doing tool selection, so I greatly appreciate your attention and patience as we go through this stuff. Service management is complex, and while service teams need something flexible, they don't need to build it from scratch. And I should know, because I spent a career building service management systems from scratch. Hi, I'm Matt Beren, and I'm a service management geek, consultant, trainer, and YouTuber. After more than 15 years implementing service management systems for some of the largest companies in the world, I realized that we probably don't need to build incident management from scratch for every single company. So I went and found Invigate, a company that provides not only a software as a service solution, but also a self-hosted solution and thinks like a software company. Software should make our lives better. It should make our problems less complex and not more complicated. And what does that mean to service management teams? What do service management teams want? Autonomy, simplicity, and adoption. If you're seeing these things on your screen right now and thinking, yeah, I would love to make my job more simple. I would love to automate some of my lower value work. You're in the right place. So what do most service management teams want to address these things? We've got an actual no-code solution. You literally cannot use code in our software. If you want to, you can create a middleware layer or an API integration to build your own interface, but no code is in here. We also provide software to make your life easier. Instead of you having to figure out how to make your life simpler, we're doing that for you, thinking about how we can make asset management better, how we can make service management easier. And of course, a great user experience drives organic adoption. I can put these words in front of you all you want or all I want, but really what we should do is prove it to you. So I'm going to go into our software and do that now. Once I move this over to the correct monitor. There we go. Okay, cool. And this is a demo environment, so you'll see me logging in and out a couple times, but just know, obviously, there would be an actual sign into our software using SSO, most likely. So for our demo today, I'm going to show you real quickly. First of all, let's just assume that someone from HR and finance says, hey, as part of our employee onboarding, offboarding, we also need to collect their corporate credit card. So me as a service desk manager, I'm going in here to our workflow and saying, hey, I got to add a step in here. So I go to my employee offboarding workflow. I see the visual flow of the work, all of these nodes in here. This kind of works exactly as you would expect it. If I double click on these, it opens the form that's going to offboard this employee. And I can see the steps that are happening. We're doing a conditional. Do they work in an actual physical location? If so, we got to tell corporate security. If not, we can go on to these other tasks. And you can see we're sharing HR tasks, we're sharing IT tasks. And what I want to do is right before we collect these IT assets, I'm going to add a step. And I'm just going to go here, click on task, which I can't see which one is task. That one must be task. And what I'm going to do is double click on this task, and I'm just going to name it right away. I'm going to say, hey, collect the corporate credit card. Nothing crazy there. And there are some options up here for how you want to manage this task. Like, do you want the workflow to continue? Do you want it to automatically close when tasks are done? That sort of thing. But what I'm going to do is create an actual task here. And this has to be done collect the credit card. This has to be done in order for this request to advance. And I'm going to assign it to someone on one of our teams. Let's say, for instance, someone on finance. I think David is our finance dude. And you can set other things like a description, a due date relative to when the workflow is kicking off, all that sort of thing. What's great though is then when I go back to my graphical workflow, I then see the individual task that I need to complete in order to collect this credit card and move on. Very easy, very simple. You don't need to wait for admins. You don't need to be doing code. Now, let's say, for instance, that someone from the legal department says, hey, we need to start providing notary services. There's a new service we want to provide. So in here, I would go to our legal category and say, hey, I need a new request item in here. And maybe that is just notarizing, or I'll just put notary for now. And what we need to do is also provide a description for that. So I'm just going to paste in something here. And then to make the portal great, we want to use keywords to identify this item so that when they search for notarization or authorization that they get this specific request. We've got an awesome LLM feature here that pulls basically the other words you would associate with notaries and puts those in here in the search terms, and you can edit these to your heart's content. We have some other options here about how we want to handle workflow, how we want to handle the workload. But at this point, I'm going to really just push this over to my legal team. No fancy stuff needed. But if I do want automatic assignment rules, I can set those up here and say, hey, if they're in South America, send it to this legal team. And if they're in Europe, send it to this legal team. So lots of options for complexity in here and for complex environments, but it can also be really easy to use, which is a great thing. Now, I'm going to select a body template in here, and this is just a form that's going to show me, that's going to collect the correct information for this request. And I can't quite read this, so I need to scroll. Notary form, there it is. I pre-made this notary form. All it is a simple field that asks, what kind of document they need notarized. And now I'll just go create that item. So I can go into a new request as an agent. I can search for notary. It's going to pull up that specific request. I can go and fill out that form that's very complex. I need to notarize a financial document. Something really simple. Maybe I need to fill in some other fields that are specific to our environment. But at this point, I can just submit and this request is going to get created. Very fast, very easy way to change your catalog. I miss these days of software. Every once in a while, I think back to when we used to use software. I can't imagine how much time this would take to build in an open platform. So we've got some other things in here to make your life simple because, like I said, service desks, service management, IT is chaotic. It's always changing. And so to make our lives a little bit easier, we create UIs that make your life easier. For instance, this is the manager view for service desk managers. So this is an easy way for me to see who on my team is here and available today, who's out, who's checked out for the day. I can see my queue along the right-hand side. And I can manage my team's work and see what their work is like. So it really is like a snapshot into the people that I manage. And I manage multiple teams across multiple continents. So this is super important because I don't have visibility into who's in the office in Europe or the US or South America. Now, there are automated routing rules for our tickets. You don't always need to have a queue, but if you do have a manual queue or somewhere where you're selecting work, you can then simply drag and drop these tickets. So by selecting that ticket, you can see it only shows me team members that can do that kind of work. They're on the right team to do that kind of work. So very easy way to assign work. If someone calls in and says, hey, I'm out of the office today, I got a sick kid, came down with COVID, whatever it is, you can select that agent, see all of their work, and reassign stuff as you need to. Very handy, very fast way to get into what people are working on. And if I go into something like this CRM request, as a manager, I can now see what Chase was working on. and I can see that there's a dialogue going on, there's a discussion. Well, I need to get updated on this ticket really quickly. How do we make this simpler for service desk managers? Well, using this AI button here, we can quickly summarize this ticket. So it's pushing all this ticket information out to an LLM and then coming back and telling me who said what and how often they said it. I can publish this to the ticket so that people don't have to generate this again. They can just get a quick update right here, which is great for closed tickets. And that way I don't have to regenerate it again later. Now, there is another AI feature in here, and that is better agent responses. I don't know about you, but when I was a service desk agent, I would always be trying to move as fast as possible. And oftentimes that kind of came off as curt or rude. So what I would do is put in something like this. Hey, here's some simple instructions. But now with LLMs, we can simply improve that response. So it's pushing that out to a public LLM, and that LLM is going to come back and give us better phrasing. Now, you can, of course, turn these features on and off for yourself, but if you've got agents that are a bit terse, this is a great feature to have. Now, for adoption, you'll see in our interface that we focus very hard on making sure that things are kind of as you would expect them to be, where you expect them to be, and how you expect them to look. And the same thing goes for your end users. If you're designing a self-service portal, there are some obvious UI elements that you should copy from other systems. For instance, having your navigation along the top. Everyone expects to see their profile picture and be able to manage their profile up in the top right. Here's the search box. All very useful things, but also it's where the user expects them. And this way you don't have to train your users. And your service desk team and your service management team don't need to be experts at UI and software design. We're doing that for you. So you can see the customer down here on the left-hand side, they're going to see everything that's important to them. My open tickets, what I need to pay attention to. And on the right are things that are suggested to them. You might want to request these things. Maybe you want to take a vacation. So that's one way that we make it simpler for your customers. And this is really important because the easier that your portals are to use, the easier that self-service is to use, the less likely that they're going to interrupt your agents and interrupt your days. Now, there are some other features in here that drive adoption within your teams. And I think the most important one is the My Work section. Agents spend 8 to 10 to 12 to 16 hours a day working on tickets. And really, we just want to be powerful. We just want to be able to get our job done and get back to inbox zero. So you'll see in here, we've taken a lot of time and effort to design this in ways that make agents powerful. First and foremost, you see colors that indicate the urgency of your tickets and your SLAs. Here's 2 SLAs I've missed. They're red. These tickets are red here because they're waiting for me. They're waiting in line. And if I need to quickly get these out of here, I can just quickly say, hey, I'm waiting for the customer. I'm waiting for a specific date. If I want to change the way that this looks, maybe I don't like tickets in card form. I like them in list form. We want to be able to give agents the ability to quickly and easily customize their workspace. If I don't like that sidebar, I can pull that off and just focus on my tickets. The sidebar is nice because it's got some reminders on there and subtasks, but some people do need to see full picture, what's going on. Lastly, I'll talk about the dashboard. This is a huge part of our differentiation. We allow dashboards for every user. You don't have to have a special license to edit, create, manage your own dashboards. Let your agents do it. Because if you're trying to get your agents to reach their goals, hit their bonuses, one of the best ways you can do is to give them the information to then focus on, am I meeting those goals? So a lot of agents that we see love being able to manage their own dashboards. Now, some other things that you'll see in here specifically are that it's just really easy to use. Like on this dashboard, for example, if I'm going to edit, you're going to see the edit button there. It's going to come up exactly as you expect it to be. And you haven't seen me mention at all any time that we do asset management. And this is a huge part of who we are. In fact, InvGate stands for Inventory Gateway. The way that we started was we saw this explosion of devices in the market, and we realized that we needed to have a way to track all of those assets from beginning, purchase, procurement, all the way to destruction. So we sell this as a separate solution. For obvious reasons in our market, software and hardware asset management are not only expensive to manage, but very complex. And it's something that we like to focus on. So as part of InvGate Asset Management, we have several ways to collect your assets in here. You can install an agent on your machines, you can do discovery, you can import them from a CSV, whatever you really want to do. But when I get in here for my assets, let's say that Nancy's calling up and I need to just fix Nancy's computer. Well, here's her notebook, and I can quickly see that her notebook is in not great shape because it's not online. So that's probably what Nancy's calling about. Looking through here, though, you can see all the details for this system. On the hardware tab, you see not only the hardware details, but also how much RAM is in each slot of your computer, not just total RAM. How many logical drives do you have mounted on this machine? What printers and GPUs are installed on this machine? And getting into software, you can see all the software that's installed on this machine. This is a big deal about who we are, because we know that software asset management is super complex. There's all this data. We normalize this data for you. You know, this product here fits in this category. You know, that sort of features. If it's a Windows machine, you can see additional features like what are in the startup items? What are the shared drives that are mounted? What services are running on this machine? And of course, with asset management, we track the financials. This is a huge part of asset management. When is the warranty expiration? How does this depreciate? That should say 5%. That way I can calculate my percentage of depreciation and understand where I'm losing money. There's a ton of features in here that I'm glossing over, but you can see, hopefully, how this would provide an easier and simpler experience for you. Now, I'll go back to my slideshow here. Why do people select InvGate? For those very purposes that I showed you. We allow you to manage your own autonomy. We allow you to build a simple process and build simplicity into your work, and of course, through adoption. I hope that I've opened your mind and maybe even expanded your horizons about what you can do on your service desk when it feels complex, when it feels chaotic, when it feels fragile. The complex doesn't need to be complicated. And I hope that if you don't select us as a vendor, that you at least are inspired to deliver better service, because good service is good business. Now, I've got some time for questions here. Do you want me to look through the questions here, Ashley?
Matt, no, that's great. I'll pull a few out of the list. So because the wider audience can't see them. So I've got a good question here. So does the solution come with a full IT service management suite? So for example, CMDB, and can it integrate with third-party apps?
Yes. So we do everything that every other service management vendor kind of does: incident, problem, change, config. I just don't show that usually in demos because they're gotchas, right? Of course, it's table stakes. So yes, we do CMDB.
Excellent. Another question here is, can you assign tasks to any user type, or does the user have to be a resolver or a user with specific access permissions?
They would need to be an agent to manage tasks, but that really is the only restriction.
Okay. How long would an implementation, including customization, last for an organization as a mid-size organization? For example, if they were looking at 12 to 15 ITIL processes.
I love that question. Oh my gosh, that's such a good scope qualifier in there too. Fantastic. 12 to 15 ITIL processes. Oh my gosh. And you're a middle-sized organization. Oh my gosh. You must be very mature. Congratulations. And We see our implementations take very short amount of times. I used to work for a competitor that I won't mention that took years to implement in some cases. Most of our customers are going live between 1 and 3 months maximum. For 12 to 15 ITIL processes, it might take a little bit longer just because you're more mature, so you probably have more specific things that you want to tweak. But in most cases, like I said, there's not much coding. And so oftentimes our implementations go really fast. If you're just doing asset management, for example, you can be live today. It doesn't take that long to go live on asset management.
Cool. So you mentioned in your presentation use of large language models. This question comes in and says, is it AI enabled for predictive analysis and resolutions?
Oh my gosh, I love this question because we are developing some of the things that vendors have been promising in this space, and I am so excited to be able to announce them. They're coming, but it's not doing it yet. And the reason that we are taking a little bit longer on that is because we want to make sure that it's working the way that we expect it to. A lot of times you see bias, you see hallucinations, you see people using public LLM data to find that predictive analysis. We don't want to be doing any of that. We want to be able to protect your data and do it the right way. So we're kind of still developing in that space, but follow us because I'm excited to show off our features in January.
So many questions coming through. We still have a few more minutes. So another one here is, how is the product model data kept? And is it kept actual or accurate? And are all assets and respective attributes mapped automatically by discovery?
Oh, great question. So if you've got an agent installed, then it is going to keep actual accurate data at all times. Whenever something changes on the machine, that agent is dialing home. So for instance, we had a customer that was trying to track stolen GPUs because Bitcoin mining was becoming so popular. And so we made it, so that we rolled out our asset management software, and anytime someone would restart a machine because they had to turn it off to take out the GPU, we would detect which GPU is installed and then dial home and tell us what's there. For discovery stuff, you get to kind of manage how often assets are being discovered. They are not mapped automatically in discovery. I really want to say yes to that question, and we are working on that. That's kind of our other focus on in R&D is automatic mapping of discovery. But it sounds like you should come and get a demo, because if you're thinking about asset management and configuration management like this, you should definitely talk to us.
Okay, cool. This morning there were a couple of presentations around new employees, onboarding and offboarding, and one of those questions has come through and says, does your tool offer such functionality?
Yes, definitely. One of the most common integrations is the ability to have one of those workflows that does onboarding, not only just general onboarding though. And I think that's kind of a key here. What a lot of vendors will tell you is that you can have one workflow for onboarding, and you cannot. You need multiple workflows for each of your personas in most cases now. But yes, definitely something we do. Make an Entra ID, remove an Entra ID, etc.
Okay. And with the last 30 seconds, is there an opportunity to announce the closure of problem in an instance to all affected as a group when they close the ticket?
Yes, definitely. For major incidents and problems, even changes, sometimes you kind of want this. So yeah, we definitely have the ability to have those sub-tickets be updated by the parent ticket. Huge feature, massive for communication. Great question.
Right. Matt, you so far have the award for the most questions at the end of a session, and there are still a few more for you to review and look at. So thanks to you, and thanks to the audience for a very engaging session.
Thank you so much. And if you want a personalized demo, please feel free to reach out. We're excited to show off our stuff, obviously.
Great, thanks. So next up, we have Vinicius Gravito, who is an architect and consultant with Central IT. Vinny has 22 years of experience in IT and 14 years in project management, and is currently responsible for the architecture and business solutions for customers and partners in Latin America. Today, Vinny's going to share how the implementation of ITIL 4 drove a great digital transformation and support for AI adoption in the Brazilian Supreme Court. Vinny, welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Let me share my screen.
Good.
Good. Can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So, now I will share with you our project inside the Supreme Court in Brazil. First of all, I would like to present me. I'm Vini. I'm a solution architect and work as solution architect in the last 15 years, and I'm responsible for the ITIL certification inside the Central IT group. So the Central IT is a company, a big company in Brazil that work as integrator, and is owner of the SitSmart platform. The SitSmart platform, it's an ecosystem that can promote the digital transformation inside the customer, and the platform has inside the same license the ITSM and ASM functionality. Low code, you can design and develop from scratch new systems and integrate new functionalities inside the low code. The agility, our Kanban that can integrate with the external platforms and third-party platforms certified by SAFe. So we can handle our project from scratch until the delivery. Artificial intelligence for all functionalities, including ITSM and ASM, hyper-automation, observability, and APM, where the SitSmart platform can use the observability to solve problems inside your infrastructure and network and provide the counterattacks. Omnichannel platform, it's basic, and the financial solution, legal solutions, and HR solutions that was developed using the low-code system. The low-code system, it's the main piece inside the platform. So now I'm talking about our customer. We got extreme, I'm sorry. We got extreme challenge from our customer. Brazil is known for its 100 courts in Brazil and in various areas which operate heavily in public sector. The Supreme Court, our challenge was implement the ITIL for low code, AI, promote the digital transformation, and reduce the gaps in the human errors. So the main challenge faced with organization operational challenges in Brazilian justice, how we implemented the ITIL for and digital transformation for this customer. The main piece, the main challenge were assessment of those contract and legal documents that required a lot of time for interpretation and associated with 100 laws and case laws that we have in our country. So it's a big problem because we depend the human to interpret and understand the contract and the legal documents. And because that we have the assessment risk associated for each contract type. So our process, it's really heavy and problematic inside the customer. So that was our challenge. And we implemented our functionality called the legal lens. The legal lens, it's a system developed inside the low code that use generative AI and open AI. I present a demo. So first of all, let me show the customer just need to pick the specific contract or legal document. After the generative AI, you read and promote a OCR and understand all pieces inside the contract and create the short analysis and the long analysis about the contract based in our laws in Brazil. And you appoint the recommendations to improve our risks and the recommendations. For each piece that we have in there, we have the risks, recommendations, and the law that are linked inside of the platform. And the laws, the platform and the generative AI and search and link with our federal law inside of Brazil. The platform will present all risks that we have in there, all laws that was mentioned inside the document, and the link when we can check the law is correct or not, and our recommendation. So after the implement this functionality in there, using artificial intelligence and creating an ITIL process that always start with a new request. Any customer can create a request for a contract or legal document analysis. After the legal department, you use a legal lens to understand the basic document and our risks and the recommendations. If was approved, if approved, okay, it's the document, it's okay. The platform, after approval, you response to customer, that's okay, you can use this contract and or this legal document. If not, you will start the OCR, or organizational change methodology. So the contract will be promoted for a change, and the change you change the information inside the contract and LLM and virtual machine. You get the new features and the new information there, and you feed the system and artificial intelligence for the new contracts. So what's the result that we achieved inside our customer using legal lens? The exponential reduction to time taken and evaluate legal documents and contract, because we have a dozen contracts, and in the past maybe 2-3 weeks for analyze a legal document based in our 100 laws that we have and case laws that we have in our court, and now we can do that really quickly. Standardized evaluation, reduce errors and lack of information, because we can use the different interpretation, and now we can reduce errors, use generative AI and OpenAI. We could generate value for our internal and external customer, reducing time for each process. Our process starts with a request. After analysis, if approved, you return it to customer, or you start a change. So we can, and the ITIL, it's the main drive for the digital transformation in our customer. Now I will present the main piece that was used. Inside of the platform, we have our low code. Inside the low code, we can just choose the specific field and use. I will share my another screen. 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen? I'm sorry.
Yep, we can see the browser.
Okay, so now I present the demo. So we have in there the contract that was sent, our analysis, and risks and all information that we have in there, and it was created by our low-code platform that we can choose a specific item and drag and drop inside the platform. And after publish, the system you'll be ready to use, and including our integration was made by our platform. We have interoperability inside the platform, and our workflow that we have in there, it's a BPM that's a web service also. So we can generate the components and create new components integrated with ERP, REST, SOAP, and our other platforms, including AI palette to drive and manipulate different workflows and drive, including inside our platform. Now we have the interview. So the customer can the customer can use our platform for HR system, and the artificial intelligence you promote the interview using TTS and STT directly with customer and create a score about the general skill, autonology, is hard skill, soft skill, troubleshooting, and if, cognition. So the AI can analyze the feeling about the candidate answer and all information there. So using the low code, we can reduce in 85% the lack of the information and errors and reduce our time. So all integrated with the ITSM and ESM that we have in there. It's the same platform, not a module. It's a functionality that we have. So that's it. I would like to say thank you very much. If you have we have some question, Ashley.
Thank you, Vinny. That is very informative. There's a couple of questions that have come out. I think working with the legal, the contracts, and on one of your screens, some personal information. This leads to a question we've asked a couple of times, or that's been asked a couple of times today, around the security of the data around the AI. How is that achieved, and how do you keep this information not just separate from other customers, but from general access?
Perfect. So for each customer, we have a specific tenant that we use generative AI. So the information are consumed, and the Gen AI, you create a specific vector for each customer. Because if you use OpenAI without a specific tenant, or generative AI without a specific tenant, the information will be shared inside our platform. It's a multi-tenant platform, but each customer use a specific cluster, and in there we have the tenants for and GPU for each customer with a specific vector. So inside the SitSmart platform, the information, it's totally separated. So the customer can't read another customer information.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I don't know if you could help, just a general question. So in a number of the presentations, we have people describe low code or no code technology. And obviously people see this as an advantage, because then, you know, either their development team already have a strong backlog, or it's an additional cost of resources for development. So they see that as an advantage. But what would you see would be in general, current limitations in terms of development by having an option for low code or no code technology?
Oh, so I worked in the past with a no-code platform. So when we use no-code, it's easily to develop, but we need to create a lot of logical pieces for reach the specific result. When you use low code, we can create, for example, interface with SQL and specific interface and front end directly using low code. And if you need to get some specific point with, you don't need to use logical pieces for reach the same result. You can use a simple line and achieve the same result. So using low code at Gartner, we can reduce almost 600% if compared with a traditional development.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, with the Brazilian Supreme Court, this is a federal or a government institution, and yes, we would be focused about reduction of cost or accelerated service delivery. What were the other benefits that came out of this engagement?
When we are thinking about, for example, in Brazil, that we have it's really big, and we have a dozen process in our court or another departments or another verticals. So the digital transformation and the standardize the using ITIL for and the digital transformation integrated with AI, we can reduce and create you call a magic. You can reduce your costs and increase your value, not about only money, but generate value for your end customer using the same structure. So it can reduce the echoes, reduce the errors, standardize the process, and achieve big result inside your customer. It's amazing because digital transformation isn't about digitalization or digitalize documents. It's about you reduce the costs and generate value with the same structure. So using low code and AI, you can promote the digital transformation and create a lot of pieces that can be used in another verticals. You just need to understand the business. If you understand the business, you can deliver the best engagement for your customer and achieve the return on investment that the customer are looking for.
Thank you, Vinny. Obviously, this is a highly regulated environment. How does working in this kind of environment change or shape the processes that you automate?
So it's a big challenge because the change in the environment inside the customer depend if the customer rules. Okay, so and less too specific customer that we implemented the digital transformation was the challenge was convince the technical team. But in terms of the deliver the experience, I think the work you'll be if you use AI in the low code, you'll be really quickly and easy.
Thank you. So I'll ask you just one more question. So with regards to interoperability, you mentioned this in your presentation. What does this mean for the product and the market, and what are the key benefits to interoperability?
Yeah, interoperability, it means integrated with any database, any API, including DB2, consuming any document. Inside our platform, the interoperability that we use inside the low code, because you can create a web services integration without development, without code. You can get our information from different databases, web services, and sites, and create a correlation side of the platform and create accuracy inside the information and deliver inside the screen or web services or another platform. Some customers use our interoperability platform as gateway that we can I get information from 2-3 sources and manipulate the data and delivering another external third-party system. So it's the capability, it's the interoperability, it's Babelfish can integrate and you with any sources and align our information for speak the same language.
Just a question's come in. It's a really interesting question. So, what does your AI support function do when it's dealing with legal language? And sometimes, as we all know, legal language is not
Yeah.
normal language, and it contradicts contradicts the normal language. So how does it cope with that uncertainty and that little bit of ambiguous terms when trying to find the right response?
Yeah, the ambiguous, it's a real problem inside the artificial intelligence. Thank you for your question. So we create using AI generative, you can training before the AI generative for create the vectors inside the terms and process, because process for legal and process for ITIL and process. So we can need it to be a disambiguation. So we just need to training the generative AI for specific terms and use some sample that we have ready to use, and we can reduce the hallucination.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vinny. It's
Thank
been
you very much.
very interesting presentation. Thank you for those responses.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So before we move on to our next presenter, we're just going to throw out there a quick poll, and hopefully this will pop up on your screen. And if we've managed to coordinate it correctly, let me just put the poll forward. So the question will be, do you think it's reasonable to add the ATV accreditation to RFPs? Right. So for those of you who are end users and working in enterprise, do you think it's a reasonable request to put in the need for an ATV accreditation when you're reviewing and looking at potential vendors to work with? So Alexi, if you can let me know when we've got most of those responded. So we have, I don't know if you can see the results, but let me let you know. So out of those that have voted, it says yes, my company requires that the ATV accreditation is looking for ITSM, and that's at 9%. And for a fairly new accreditation scheme, I think that's a pretty high and compelling response. 19% say my company favors accredited ITSM vendors, but doesn't require it. And of just under half said they're not sure. So I think that's a good result, and maybe we'll share those numbers when we send out an email after the event. So without much further delay, let me introduce Nadim Attar, who is the Senior Enterprise Solutions Strategist at Atlassian. Nadim has over 20 years experience in service management and process automation, and he is an ITIL 4 master. So I expect loads of questions to be coming your way. Nadim is going to share some guidance and insights into the use of AI in service management, hopefully dispelling the notion that mainstream adoption is a long way off. Nadim, welcome.
Thank you, Ashley. Let me start sharing my screen. You able to see my screen, Ashley?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining this session. My name is Nadim Attar. I'm a Senior Enterprise Solutions Strategist at Atlassian. So I have been in this role for about 4 years, but in general, in the ITSM industry for over 20 years, helping customers in their digital and IT transformation journeys. So at Atlassian, I primarily focus on Jira Service Management and how it can enhance service management practices. On today's topic, before we jump on any judgment on whether AI in service management is a hype or reality, let's focus on a common theme between them. So when it comes to AI, literally it's a virtual assistant, right? Who can mimic human intelligence. So it's kind of a capability, I would say. So similarly, like when you look at service management, going to the fundamentals, it's all about developing and using existing organizational capabilities to create value to the end users. So what I feel is if they work in harmony, they will certainly add up. So let's explore it further. Before we dive in, let me give you a quick rundown of our agenda today. So I'm going to talk about the various influencing factors that matter in the world of service management, and particularly the role of AI as a disruptor. Next, service management is not just about break fix and customer support, but rather it starts from the strategy on the need for services based on market relevance, right? To building, operating, and supporting those services. So, what could be the opportunity of AI in all these phases? Next, I will go through AI powered capability, particularly in Jira Service Management, that focus on providing the best experience and productivity for any role, consider it user, agent, or administrator. Finally, I have facts here. I present the facts from Thumbtack about why their teams are embracing AI features in JSM and the results that they are seeing. Now, let us dig into why AI is the new technology disruptor for service management. Now, when you look at the fundamentals of service management, it basically, it revolves around three actors: service provider, service consumer, and services, right? Consider a provider for any IT organization that is catering to the needs of the end users. That's a service provider, right? But if you look from the lens of enterprise service management, even the business units, they fall under service providers. You're talking about HR, legal, finance, all those units, they have their own set of portfolio and a user base that they need to support to. Service consumer. Now, this is where the actual existence of service gets defined. Now, just think it this way: if there is no service consumer, literally you're talking about no need of services, right? But at the center of all these three is what I call it as value. Now, this is the perceived benefit seen by the end user or the customer. And guess what? This perceived benefit is going to change based on some external factors, whether it is economic, social, legal, environmental, etc. I'll give some examples here. Let's say if a country introduces some regulations and laws, and if a service fails to comply with those laws, then certainly the perception of that service is going to be dented, right? And another example is social behavior. We have seen this not long time back, right? During pandemic, like when the social behavior and norms changed, a lot of high flying services at that time, they were like not relevant all of a sudden. And then it demanded like a whole new set of, new generation of services that are relevant to that new social behavior. So my point is like, these are some of the influencing factors. But guess what? The biggest influencing factor is technology, and it is one of the constantly evolving landscape. For the past 2 decades we have seen it moving from centralized to distributed computing, virtualized to cloud computing. The way services are built and provisioned has changed drastically. Now today every organization has their services enabled by digital technology. There is no denial on that. And the recent adoption of mobile services, it demands help at fingertips. But now in the technology domain also, there is a new player in the game, and that is AI. And that is going to kind of astronomically influence the entire journey of the service lifecycle. Now, let us explore further into how this new disruptor is going to impact the various aspects of the service journey that I mentioned, right? And most importantly, the opportunity that it is going to present. Now, let me take you to this, visual from Gartner that it presented in the annual IT symposium. So it called it as the AI opportunity radar. Now, as you see from this, it said like there are two domains in which the AI opportunity exists, like game-changing AI and everyday AI. Now, game-changing AI is where organizations are going to use this technology, to come up with novel approaches to define product and services, and also develop using core capabilities that we have never envisioned before, right? And on the everyday AI, we are talking about users and knowledge workers basically adopting AI in their daily life, to ultimately to increase the user experience as well as the productivity related to them. Now, for a typical service provider that I mentioned, whether it is IT or business unit, they are going to leverage this opportunity on the other two dimensions, external and internal. Now, this is where they will come up with a mix of right product and services, and also how to enhance the user experience going forward. And for internal, basically we are talking about how they develop the core capabilities, which is at the center of service management, right? So interestingly, now, many of the service management practices touches all of these four quadrants. So let's start with that. Now, first one is front office. We all know, like any organization, when it rolls out service management practices, service request management is the first one. But sometimes, even if you define the service catalog in its most perfect format, users will still have some issues, trying to find information and trying to get to the correct catalog item. This is where natural language processing and conversational guidance assisted by AI is going to enhance this practice. Incident management, we have seen it. Sometimes incidents happen and it's the same type of incident, goes through the same activities, same escalation routes, no lessons learned, right? But this is where AI is going to suggest, like if there is a similar incident, it's going to kind of tag those and provide the resolutions at the earliest. So basically we are talking about, improving MTTR and cutting short the resolution times. Service desk. Now, rolling out a 24/7 service desk is always resource intensive and also expensive. What if you could just roll out like a virtual service agent who is going to handle, all those informative tasks as well as resolve if it can in its capability. And on the back office, there are more practices, change management. Now, this is interesting. So when you consider like developers and operations, there is always a friction between them. Developers, they want to get the code at the earliest into production. And operations, guess what? What do they need? Stability, right? And in between these two is kind of a cab which is stuck. And in nowadays, it's like very hard to scale to the changes that happen in the complex microservices environments. So this is where AI is going to come with risk-based analysis and trying to, separate those changes into standard changes that they can just go in the fast lane, and also normal changes that have to go through the cab. So basically, it's going to maintain a balance between speed as well as stability. That's going to be a huge win. Problem management. Now, typically what I have seen is organizations tend to do reactive problem management. An incident happens, you go to the root cause of the incident, and then you make sure that this incident doesn't happen. So it's reactive, right? But guess what? There is no shortage of data, whether it is from observability tool, whether it is from past incident, or even from the configuration management database. Now, this is where some of the capabilities of AI are going to come and give kind of some leading indicators on what's going to happen down the road. So this is going to shift the whole concept of problem management from reactive to proactive problem management. Software development, now it touches entire SDLC. So basically you're talking about using AI in source code reviews, pull requests, and anywhere in the CI/CD pipelines. And on the right side, it's pretty much like all those practices that lead to coming up with the novel product and services, are also increasing the core capabilities by using the continual service improvement process. But at the core is knowledge management. Now, what I have seen is in most of the organizations, this is sometimes it's kind of the neglected practice. Oh, you know what, our knowledge source is so distributed and we cannot leverage it. Our knowledge database is not up to date. So these are some of the challenges. Now, with AI at the doorstep, knowledge management is going to get its due share. So where does all this lead to, at least in the world of service support and service operation? What I would say is it is in some form going to kind of kickstart the shift left methodology. The challenges, right, involved in a typical tiered model: frequent escalations, loss of contacts, delays in resolutions. Now, AI is going to act as a catalyst for the shift left concept to get help where it is needed into the hands of the help seekers. Now, and what does a successful shift left going to look like? We usually focus on typical service level agreements, right? Just metrics prove to the end user that we have met the metrics, but that's not the case. It's going to change the landscape from typical service level agreement into a more holistic experience level agreement. And the good news is Jira Service Management is well equipped with the capabilities to make this concept a reality. So let's dig into some of the AI powered features in Jira Service Management. Atlassian is unleashing AI for service teams in 3 key ways. For help seekers, it's all about getting help exactly where and where you need it. One seamless experience. No more digging around in different systems. For agents, we are using AI to take care of repetitive stuff and make knowledge instantly accessible. So they can focus on what really matters, which is helping people, helping their colleagues. And for admin, it's about just quick setup, easy rollout across the business, because we know like admins, they have got enough on their plates. So let's start with the help seekers and the virtual service agent. So we believe that you should be able to get help where you are, whether you are in Slack or Microsoft Teams or even email or the classic help center or portal. So virtual service agent is there to assist you in a true omni-channel landscape. So users can ask for help in any one of their favorite engagement channels, whether it is Slack, Microsoft Teams, and if they wish to log into portal and click on any notification in the email, the entire conversation trail is available in the ticket. No context lost. Let's draw our attention to the support agents experience. Another aspect like knowledge workers care about is AI powered process automation. So with the click of a button, you can call the service request helper Rovo. By the way, Rovo is an Atlassian intelligent powered agent, and simply ask questions on the current case. The agent is going to catch you up on what happened on the ticket since yesterday, for example. Get up to speed on previous resolution attempts. Find subject matter experts who worked on similar requests before that could assist him. Help identify some of the next step on the path to resolution. And even draft a complete response for them based on conversation the human agent has with the robo agent. So it's an undeniable fact that today we work in a distributed workforce in different time zones, and follow the sun is a norm today. So when agent time zones change, it doesn't mean that the life cycle of the ticket has to stop there, but the flow has to continue. And without losing context, that's very important. Now, for a typical agent who work in this global model, features like this are going to be a dream come true. And it doesn't stop there. So when we are working with end users, tone of communication matters. Whether you draft a professional response or an empathetic response, Atlassian Intelligence is going to offer you assistance at every step. AI-powered agent assignments, that can intelligently route issues to the right person based on data-driven recommendations. So no more tickets sitting in the queue for tier 1 to pick up. This is going to be a huge boost for response times. And also on the resolution, it could just speed up right when the alerts are detected, separating signals from noise. So we have seen a lot, like sometimes it's like a false alarm, and 10 false alarm is going to 11th false true alarm is going to be totally neglected, like. So intelligent grouping basically based on alerts is going to be a huge benefit. Now, what about admins? What can AI do for them? Now, with Atlassian Intelligence, you can easily start an automation rule using natural language support. Yes, no more coding needed. No more to even write a pseudocode or the flow of event. Just describe your problem or just describe your requirement in plain English. AI is going to do the heavy lifting for you and is going to come up with the automation rule, which easily and quickly creates the automation rule for you, but you can always review it so that you remain in control of that automation rule. And with Robo, you can call upon a Robo agent to provide your service team with the help they need. and quickly respond to a ticket, significantly reducing the time to first response. Yes, all of this through automation. And why not call upon a few agents, to keep up the knowledge base up to date, so that you can analyze the existing closed tickets and drafting articles that were missing, for example, and recommending changes to the existing knowledge articles to close any gap in your knowledge base. So that's why I mentioned knowledge management is not going to be a neglected practice anymore. So it needs the data. And again, when it comes to AI, the first thing that need to be fixed is the knowledge management. With a good knowledge management, you are going to get good insights through AI. But if the knowledge management is outdated, then AI is going to give you the wrong information, right? And when you are rolling out a portal to new business units like HR, legal, why not take AI's assistance? So we have AI-powered help desk builder. With a simple click of a button, it guides you through request type suggestions, building the underlying workflows, and lays out the portal ready to roll out. Literally, you're talking about building help desk solution with a click of a button. And finally, when you need those insights to make informed decisions, ask your questions in plain English. AI and Atlassian Analytics will get you started with the auto-generated SQL query. So these are just a few examples of the power of AI in Jira Service Management. Next, I will take you through a true story from one of our numerous customers who are already seeing tangible benefits adopting AI on this front. Thumbtack. It's a technology company that helps millions of people confidently take care of their home improvement initiatives, small fixes to major improvements. So, being a technology company, any downtime of their service means lost revenue and, more importantly, tarnished customer experience. So, like most organizations, they have lean teams and were looking for ways to do more with less. So, when they thought about where to get started with AI, they had a simple goal: optimize the existing IT service management processes and make life easier for their employees and end user. Pretty nice goal, right? So here is the preview to the scale of support at Thumbtack. So they have around 500 project categories ranging from home services to catering and dog grooming. So there are like 300,000 professionals using the platform to offer their services. Over 80 million projects have been initiated on Thumbtack, and the organization, it supports around 1,000 employees worldwide. So this should give you some context on the size of their operations. On the next slide, I'm going to talk about when they decided to implement AI and why they choose to implement it with Jira Service Management. So in 2023, hit by macroeconomic conditions, they had challenges, expanding the headcount for teams. So this forced them to explore ways to become more efficient with their existing tools. As an existing Atlassian customer, it made sense to them to turn to Jira Service Management for their ITSM processes. So they went live with JSM in 2023. And an already existing knowledge base, it enabled them to scale the operations much quickly. So they used AI to streamline service requests, automate resolutions, and provide a 24/7 support via virtual service agent. So this approach has enhanced their SLA compliance and increased customer satisfaction score to 4.9 on a scale of 5. And additionally, their virtual service agent automatically resolves 15% of the tickets, creating efficiencies and allowing agents to focus on optimization and innovation, such as improving their knowledge base. And this is exactly what I was talking about in the shift left methodology. Make the work move to the closest to the user, basically. So they have saved around 180 hours per month by switching to JSM and automating their tasks. So in the next slide, I will review some performance metrics of their virtual service agent. For the second half of 2024, Thumbtack developed an initiative focused on optimizing their knowledge base and improving matches and resolutions using virtual service agent. So they set a base goal of achieving around 20% resolution rate, and they have reached so far 28%. And they're aiming for a stretch goal of like 30% by the end of the year, which they are confident that they will be achieving. And on top of it, they are inching further closer to a perfect CSAT score. The next slide, I'll provide behind the scenes look at the conversation of the dashboard. Now, JSM provides an intuitive dashboard analytics related to assisted conversations. As part of the process to review and optimize the results of the virtual service agent, They examine the past conversations to identify any gaps where AI, for example, did not successfully resolve the issues. Then they create intent flows and knowledge articles to enable kind of automatic resolution of similar tickets down the road. This reminds me of the classic continual improvement example. So it's not like you have the perfect AI solution on day one. It's basically you're talking about incremental improvement based on what users are asking to the virtual agent itself. And the return on investment speaks by itself. So they have so far 60% annual cost savings, and they have boosted their SLA by 90%. And they are, as I said, automatically resolving 15% of their tickets with virtual service agent. So AI in service management is a reality for sure. Time to get on board. And if you want to learn more about AI capabilities in Atlassian platform, please visit this website, atlassian.com/platform/artificial-intelligence. Thank you, and let me know if you have any questions.
Nadeem, excellent. Very good presentation. Thank you very much. We do have a handful of questions. Just before you went on to the case study with Thumbtack, you mentioned just use simple, plain English with the AI. What about in a multi-language environment? How do you manage consistency of answers in the same situation across different languages?
Yes, it is totally user intuitive. Basically, we are talking about you ask the question in any language of your choice, even though the interface is English. AI is going to translate your language into English, make the matches, make sense of the answer, and get you back the answer back in the original language that it was asked. So basically, it is like totally seamless. Like user will feel as if I'm kind of conversing with the AI agent in the language that I'm comfortable with. So it's totally supported. Yeah.
Okay, and it's kind of an extension to that question. How do you adhere to the different legal frameworks around the AI in different countries?
Yes. So basically, like we will stick to the frameworks and the regulations that that are relevant to those countries. And there are some limitations, although I will say related to data residency and all those things. But in general, yes, it complies with those frameworks as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. How reliable and with what effort is AI in predicting, fitting, and really risk-reducing change models without high-quality change requests input? And is it normalized and reconciled in order to predict a correctly fitting change model?
Yes, very good question. So when it comes to performing risk analysis, most of the data it kind of resides in the configuration management database that you have constructed. So basically, you're talking about how do you want your risk to be calculated? So you could just define a number of parameters right in your CMDB and tell like how do you come up with those risk scores, so that you could say like if it is a risk score of below 5, then I would classify them as standard changes. And if it is a risk score of more than 5, more than 6, something like that, I would just classify them as normal changes. So it's all based on the existing data in your configuration management database, as well as the environment, of course. And then it's kind of what are those algorithmic metrics that you would define to classify these type of changes. So it's going to take all those into consideration and then spit out a score, and then you could take that change from there onwards.
Okay. There are a number of questions here, and I'll ask just one more in the last minute remaining. How is AI helping service catalog management? Can it automate service request creation for the user through natural language, for example, software installation request?
Okay, that's a good question. Now there are two parts in this one. One is for admins, like how do I create my service request? For example, nowadays there are cases, like where IT used to understand the business. Now it's kind of other way around. Even business people, they understand IT. Like they know what technology is. So if you can give them the concepts of how you could spin up your own help desk, then they don't need to do any coding. Literally, they're talking about, if I am a HR representative, what are the typical catalog items that I need to give it to my users. This is where, they come up with those help desk builder that I showed a while ago, and ask that question and come up with those catalog items and then review them. Now, for the agent, you're talking about automating the flows. So we have a powerful automation capability in JSM that's going to, if it is related to, automatic fulfillment, right? It just connects to the third-party systems, and you could easily fulfill some of those tasks, which you don't need to involve any manual work over there. So there are numerous ways on this one. And again, when it comes to end user, you're talking about, how they can interact with the system and get their task fulfilled by themselves. So it touches all the three roles, I would say. So, but it does help on that front. Yeah.
Perfect. Nadeem, once again, thank you very much for your time and your contribution today. It's very informative.
Thank you.
So next we have Tom Monahan. Tom Monahan, who is the sales manager and enterprise account executive with Halo ITSM. Today, Tom is going to share some ideas where enterprises can achieve some quick results within existing operations for both service owners and users in the business, as well as key insights into improving services in a digitally changing business environment. Tom, welcome.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ashley. Hopefully I can set my screen to share. Just 1 second. And any moment now, you should hopefully be able to see my slide deck.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending where you're based. But thank you for joining us today and our partners, PeopleCert. To briefly introduce myself, I'm Tom Monahan, as Ashley said, and I'm part of the commercial team over at Halo ITSM. You could probably pick up by the accent, based in our UK offices, though we are a global company. I started my journey at Halo around 12 years ago, originally actually on the service desk, before a period in the consultancy teams, helping customers implement the Halo ITSM platform. And then I settled in this pre-sales or commercial role around 7 or 8 years ago. Our plan today is to sort of introduce Halo to you as a company, and then take a deeper dive into enterprise service management and AI, how Halo is really at the forefront of integrating both of those concepts into an out-the-box ITSM toolset. So Halo ITSM, hopefully some of you will be familiar with us, with the name, but potentially some of you won't have come across us yet. So Halo ITSM is a service management platform, and it's been built to be used right across an organization to drive efficiency, manage business processes. And despite our name, it really isn't just an ITSM tool. We'd really describe Halo as a platform, a business platform to be used right across the organization. What we're trying to deliver and drive is a centralization of potentially disparate tools that you may use across different departments currently, trying to give you a single pane of glass, join up all those processes and workflows, whilst driving efficiency through AI augmentation. As a company, we're now one of the fastest growing tech organizations globally, recently identified in the top 30 fastest growing companies in the UK. And that's not technology companies, that's the UK as a whole. Halo is now used by over 4,000 clients globally, in a variety of verticals, public sector, private sector. You can see on the screen here some real household names, teams at Microsoft who are utilizing Halo for various application support. So as I say, we're now one of the fastest growing companies, specifically in the ITSM space, but more widely being named as one of the fastest growing companies of any type here in East Anglia, where I'm based in the UK. A large part of the success, we believe, is based on our underlying philosophy. We're a privately owned company, quite different to a lot of the other vendors on the call today, and we're still owned by the original developers who actually wrote the code back in 1994. Focus from our side is really long term. We rewrote this platform that I'm going to show you today only sort of 3 or 4 years ago. It's given us the right foundations to build from, really modern web technology. There's a commitment from our owners this side that that's going to remain the structure for at least the next 10 years. And that's on a rolling sort of basis too. So no outside investment, no venture capitalists, very much a journey that we're going on as an organization. Part of that underlying philosophy is also our license model. Lots of people talking about exciting features and functions today. But with Halo, the key part is it's all built in. It's not an extra cost. All of the features and functions, including sort of the rollout to other departments, HR and facilities, as long as if you've got a license to log in, you can use any of those features and functions within the platform. We just find it leads to much better long-term relationships. We're I guess still working with customers we started working with 10, 15 plus years ago. Today we were looking at sort of retention rates here, 98% plus over the last 4 years. So when people have Halo, tend to stay with us. I guess SaaS is the direction the vast majority of customers are going. But again, part of that commitment from us is that we do still support on-premise clients. We work right across Europe. There's requirements, especially sort of Germany, other regions where data integrity, having ownership of that is something that people like to have in their own environment. We've always supported that and will continue to do it, even with our AI connectivity as well. We can talk about that more. As a company, we always put the customer first. Our roadmap is public facing, haloitsm.com/roadmap if you want to look. It's built completely around customer suggestions, customer feedback. There's actually a really cool online community, a forum. People vote on all the ideas, and that's reviewed internally here by our development team. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight as to who we are, where we've come from, where we want to take the platform. As it says on the screen, I guess a nice summary, a modern, no-code, low-code platform with outstanding customer service. And really importantly for me, delivered at a fair price. I think that's an important factor too. So the basics, I'm here to talk to you about AI and enterprise service management today and how we're delivering value from that. So AI in its current form, it's an augmented search on a database of knowledge. So you're not just searching for text, but contextual context too. Each piece of data is sent up to that large language model. You're getting vector representation, characters, numbers, and that's stored in a database. The process is known as embedding. I'm sure familiar to lots of people on the call today. The unique feature of the vector database is that capability to perform approximate near neighbor searching on the vectors efficiently. What we're trying to do there is key matching instead of performing exact key matches. That's what you'd see in sort of a traditional database. And what we're trying to do here is look at context over text. And then on the enterprise service management side, it's often referred to as ESM, and it's the extension of IT service management principles, ITIL principles, but in other wider areas of the business. Teams like human resources, legal, facilities, marketing, anywhere where there are processes, business processes, where they could benefit from those efficient ITSM processes. What we're doing in Halo is delivering both of those as part of our all-inclusive out-of-the-box setup. It's ready to hit the ground running, so to speak. It's an enterprise service management platform, despite the name, augmented with AI. So I guess that's a bit of an intro to Halo, who we are, what we do, and what I wanted to show is actually some of Halo out of the box and what we're doing in that space. So what I'm going to do is set my screen to share, and hopefully any second now, you should just be able to see a browser page. So from our perspective, great part about Halo is you can just go to our website and hit this start trial button. That's exactly what I've done before today's session. You'll see here, we've got the landing page. So this is the Halo sort of interface day one. And we've got all of the features and functions down the left-hand side. This is the agent side. We have the end user portal. Very briefly sort of put some background images and things on here today. But hopefully you can see all of that on the screen. If we start in quite a strange place, configuration. Halo doesn't hide this away. It very much is a no-code, low-code platform. And you'll see all of the functional areas of the tool are here. You can turn off any of the areas that you don't want to use, turn on the areas that you do. As I say, they're all inclusive, so it is just a case of enabling them. But structurally, Halo's been designed with enterprise service management at its core. So when we look at the organization, and we see this visualization of it, we can see by default, we have the departments at the green level that are potentially using this instance. We have the different teams within the department and the engineers or support analysts that are involved. Importantly, each engineer or agent logging into the tool has a role associated with them. That role is what drives what they see, the look and feel of the system, the workflows and processes that they have available to them. When we go back to configuration, Halo, as I say, was rewritten not that long ago, sort of 3-4 years ago. And as part of that, it was built around a REST API. Natively, we integrate with hundreds of platforms. They are all free to turn on. They're part of the platform. They're built in-house. So they're supported and maintained by us and our team of in-house developers. You'll see tools on here like Entra. There's a full integration there. We can map those roles, map those departments directly into the tool, but also use that to drive automation. Really important when we start looking at how much we can reduce sort of the manual workload in Halo. Just to show you, today, as I say, I'm logged in, I guess, as a super admin, an IT admin, seeing all of those ITIL-aligned areas as you'd expect, the CMDB, stock control, various sort of features and functions. But if I were to just, for example, log in as one of my agents, so if we go to perhaps Robert, who's our HR manager, this is one platform, one instance of Halo. But if I impersonate Robert and just log in as him for a moment, what we should see is the look and feel of the system is very different. Robert doesn't see those ITIL-aligned areas, though he can still use the processes. He sees the HR team. He sees human resources, payroll, and potentially different requests that are coming into that area. The big differentiator for us is that you can give users the right features, the right functions, but in the background, still have that collaboration. So if I just log back in as myself for a moment, what we should see is that when you get something like a service request coming into the system, if we go to our requests, look at perhaps this new starter request, so Jane Smith, new starter in the system, perhaps come in via the portal. It has a plan of all of the subtasks. And these subtasks can disappear off to different teams, different departments. So that's our kind of, I guess, enterprise service management out of the box. And from a user's perspective, it's one portal. They go to make a request. They are accessing the service catalog. You'll see this becomes a central service platform. They want to get in touch with facilities, report an issue with the air conditioning. What we're doing in the background is routing that through to the right team, following those business processes, and joining them up within the tool. The other side of what we wanted to talk about today is AI. So Halo has AI built in out of the box. There are a couple of different examples that I can show you in this interface today. I thought a really good sort of way to sort of step through that is from an agent's perspective. If we have a brand new sort of ticket that's come in via email, someone saying, I don't know, their printer's showing offline. See lots of people playing around with this demo environment, sort of logging some tests in here. But what we should see, let's just pick a different ticket here. What we should see, printer showing offline, is in the background, we get AI suggestions. We also get AI insights. So a user sent in an email, and before an engineer's even looked at this, out of the box, Halo's AI engine is trying to generate a better summary, it's trying to suggest the priority, even look at the tonality of the user's email that's come in, potentially if it has the ability to come up with a suggestion in terms of resolution. You have the AI suggestions tab, and this is really sort of, I guess, us trying to remove the need for level 1 triage within the platform. Our long-term aim is to remove as much level 1 support, as much level 1 service from those manual sort of steps that may be in place at the moment. You'll see on here, what we have is a number of suggestions, but these have actually been automatically applied based on the vector score in the background. So you'll see here, we've automatically assigned this out to James. We've given it a category, we've escalated it, potentially overridden the priority. But it's also, following ITIL, identified that there's actually a number of similar open incidents with a high enough vector score that we're quite confident that a problem should be created. We're not actually confident enough to automatically apply it. We've set a threshold that's quite high to make sure that we're accurate with these things. We can then manually apply that. You'll also see this bot on the right-hand side. It's popping up for me as an engineer with potential AI knowledge-based suggestions. But again, even before I've looked at it, in the templated email that goes back to a user, the sort of standard thing all of these systems do, here's your ticket reference number. It's actually going to give them the top 3 articles, things that might help them to resolve the issue before you've even looked at it. You'll see lower down on here, again, we've got that sort of AI match tickets piece. The other out-the-box use case that I wanted to touch on is we've got this knowledge in the system, but where's it coming from? We do integrate with all sorts of platforms, Jira's Confluence being one, SharePoint, but also you can build knowledge directly from the resolution. Always these systems have had the ability to take your closure note, plug that into a knowledge article. So simply take closed, closure, whatever you put in here and drop it into an article. Isn't really that helpful. So you'll now see we've got this option to actually create a knowledge article using AI. What that's going to do is look at the ticket. Should we have used a knowledge-based article? We've already got one there, and it will flag that for your knowledge manager to review. Why didn't we find it? If there isn't an article, it will read the entire transcript with the user, draft an article, send that to your knowledge manager, who can then approve it and share it with either the end users or keep it as an internal article. The other side, the other use case that we have out of the box, if I just restart this, we've got a virtual service agent. So this is our end user portal. It's fully brandable. We can embed this as an application within Teams, but the virtual service agent can actually be a standalone application within Teams, within Slack, or in your own web pages as well. So we'll ask the virtual chatbot, what can you do? And it should come back to us with a response of current sort of pre-built things that are there out of the box. As I say, this is just a trial. It's a trial that anyone can grab from our website. So it is designed to work from day one. What we're seeing here is it can search the knowledge base. It could potentially log a service request for me, potentially report issues, even updating existing tickets. But really importantly, this can also transfer to a human conversation. So you can still have that interaction that users sometimes want. Importantly, everything that's in here, even if the user abandons the chat, it's still logged as a ticket. We're still capturing feedback at the end of this as well. You're seeing here, if I say my printer isn't working, it should, in the background, either suggest knowledge articles, ask me more details, but it's working through and reducing the odds of it requiring human intervention. Yeah, it's gone to our large language model and trying to come up with a suggestion here. What's really important to us is that we're not training that large language model. In the background, we're sending the data up, we're making a request, we're pulling data back, the response, but we're not storing that data in any way. So your data is very secure and safe. From our side, these are just some of the out-the-box use cases that we've tried to pre-build, but it is a really, I guess, evolving part of the system. And it is all built through the UI. On our website, if I scroll down a little on here, there is a nice page around AI, which is really worth having a look at. But if people want to sort of see more of this, we're more than happy to arrange sort of detailed demos. Hopefully some nice insights there as to where we're taking this. One of the big parts is we have recently been recognized by Gartner on their Magic Quadrant for AI, one of only sort of 10 AI ITSM tools on there. So an exciting sort of next couple of months for us as we deliver more and more through that. I'm just going to hop back to my slide deck. Just bear with me 1 second, and hopefully any second now, we'll be back to the slides. So from my side, hopefully that's been a quick introduction, a nice introduction for those on the session today, existing clients if we've got any on the call, and those looking to do more with enterprise service management and potentially AI in their service management tool. Even if that isn't Halo yet, hopefully some food for thought. More than happy to speak further after the webinar today, or if anyone's got any questions now, perhaps Ashley is a good time to pick some of those up.
Excellent, Tom. Thank you very much for that presentation. And it very well structured, and it seems that AI has really been a core tenet of the solution of Halo ITSM today. There are a couple of questions that have come in. So one of them is, what is the ramp-up time to make the AI engine usable for day-to-day services, including training, etc.? Then once in use, what level? So I was just reading it, and it's just disappeared. And then once in use, what level of further training then can be applied to the tool?
Yeah, so certainly it's a good question. It definitely relies on you having good data in the system, as has been discussed today to some degree. The nicety is that it can look at the large language model. It can do sort of proper RAG searching, go out, use that large language model if you haven't already got your own data. It's quite impressive how quickly you can build up data in a system like this. We can import it from old systems. I guess one of the reasons most people are moving systems is because they haven't got the data that they want. So it's a bit of a challenge sometimes initially. But once you have started, it is a system that evolves. So the more you do within the system, the more intelligent it becomes. That database, as it gets larger, the more you can, I guess, deflect users, drive that shift left. We've actually got a council here in the UK. They've got something like 37% now of all incoming inquiries via the portal fully resolved. So that even if it's raising a service request, the end-to-end delivery of that, where we're integrated into Entra and other platforms, is an end-to-end process that no longer requires IT input. So some quite big time saving there.
Excellent. How does Halo ITSM integrate with and support security incident flows via incident management? There's another question.
So security and event management, we've actually got a separate module within the platform. Module sounds like it's going to be an add-on, but it is part of the system. It's just something you turn on. We've got native integrations with all sort of security management tools and event management alerting tools, things like SolarWinds, for example. And what we're really doing is bringing those into the system automatically. But with most of those, it's an ongoing two-way sync. So if you resolve the incident in Halo, you go through the process, update the people who are impacted, potentially put notifications out on the portal, you're following that sort of structure. But it would then, as you close it off, update the opposing system as well. So what we're trying to do is avoid that duplication of data entry throughout.
Yeah. One more question. In fact, no, we got a bit more time. So regarding CMS, CMDB in Halo ITSM, does AI use discovery tool functions to keep the config details updated once a change has gone through its life cycle?
Yeah, really good question. So from our side, our CMDB can be manually populated through spreadsheets, manual creation, but normally we'd integrate with platforms like Intune, SECM, discovery tools like Landsweeper or Verima. The exciting part is that if you are managing change, it would normally be associated perhaps with one of those CIs, but also the services that you're delivering. There's a full sort of service automation framework where we can automate the change approval processes based on the users who are going to be impacted, the service that's going to be impacted in the background. Quite importantly as well, if that integration with Intune or one of these other discovery tools picks up a change, it's all audited in Halo. But if you haven't got a change associated with it, we can log a retrospective change automatically. So there's intelligence in the background that's looking at those things to ensure that everything's kept in line and ensure that you're following process.
Another question here, Tom. In terms of the AI learning or training, can historical emails be used as a knowledge management source?
Yeah, absolutely. The flexibility of I guess the way we're working with AI is that it's kind of up to the customer as to what data they want to share with that AI engine. Some organizations will just sort of share internal notes, internal actions. Others will choose to share sort of end user actions, activity, but that is a very flexible part of the tool.
Yeah. I suppose this is a bit more of a generic question for you, although it would apply to your solutions. So when we're looking at on-prem solutions versus cloud solutions, specifically on-prem solutions and the data residency, having that together at the same time, doesn't this have an impact and sacrifice some of the support features that the AI tool can offer when it's on-prem?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So the way we're delivering AI as an out-the-box, free-to-use kind of function, you're technically using our tenant. It's our tokens. It's us paying for it, if you like, in the background.
Yeah.
If you have Halo on-premise, there is absolutely nothing to stop you plugging in your own OpenAI credentials, accounts, tenant. So your data is completely in your control. It would require you to still have that connectivity to a large language model to drive AI, but doesn't necessarily have to be hosted by us. It can all sit within your own tenant, your own on-premise version.
Okay, 30 seconds. One last question. Is the AI capability usable throughout the platform? So, for example, you mentioned ESM. So perhaps can it be used within the HR modules and custom workflows? And can the AI engine be applied to other areas as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it is across the platform, but really importantly, it takes into account the engineer or agent's permissions. So where we talked about that role-based access, if you're an HR manager, it's going to be looking at suggesting knowledge-based articles you have access to. In the same way, if it's trying to tell you that there's a major incident going on, a problem, you're in IT, it's not looking at those HR cases in the system. There is that segregation where you want it, but also the collaboration where you need it to drive efficiency.
Perfect. Tom, thank you very much for your time and very informative presentation.
No worries. Thank you.
So last but not least, we come to the last presentation of the day, and I'd like to bring and introduce Francis Lee, who is the Chief Customer Officer at SysAid and is also the General Manager of SysAid Canada, with Garen Thomas, who is a Senior Desktop Support Engineer at Simbec Orion. Francis and Garen are going to share how AI is shaping the next generation solution that is revolutionizing IT service management, and how AI is delivering significant productivity gains. So, welcome, Francis and Garen. I hand it over to you.
Hey, thanks very much, Ashley. Hopefully we're coming through okay. And now for the awkward moment of sharing my screen. How's that?
Perfect.
Perfect. So hi, everyone, and thanks for staying with us till the very last session of the day. I've been nervously looking at the number of participants dropped throughout the day, so I really appreciate those that have stuck till the very end. So I'm Francis Lee, I'm SysAid CCO, and I've been with the company for about 5 years now. And I have the privilege of being responsible for the support and enablement of all of SysAid's customers. And speaking of customers, I'm thrilled to be able to join today by Garen Thomas from Simbec Orion, who happens to be an early adopter of our Gen AI product, SysAid Copilot, and a longtime SysAid user. So I'd love for you to take some time, Garen, to introduce yourself and your organization to the audience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Francis. So my name is Garen Thomas. As Francis said, I'm a senior desktop support engineer at a company called Simbec Orion. I've been with the company for over 6.5 years, starting out on the help desk when we were locked away in this little IT cupboard. Inherited SysAid. I think we've been a SysAid customer since I was in secondary school, which is a scary thought. But yeah, I've been with the company 6.5 years, grown to love the product, and my first challenge really was to sort of revamp the help desk. So my role now is overseeing the help desk and overseeing all the service management in the IT realm. A bit of background on us. Simbec Orion is a global research organization. We're based in South Wales, but we have offices dotted around Europe and in the US. We specialize in sort of helping pharmaceutical companies and biotech companies develop and deliver new medicines through clinical trials, and we focus mainly on advancing healthcare, bringing new life-changing treatments to people worldwide through phase 1 to phase 4 studies. So that's a very high-level overview of what we do, and I manage just a small piece of the ITSM world.
Thanks very much, Garen. So together, we're going to be diving into how AI is reshaping IT service management and tackling challenges like, growing service requests, cost management, and delivering better user end user experiences. But before we get started, Garen, just let me give the audience a quick overview of SysAid and our latest innovation, SysAid Copilot. And I promise you, this is not slide heavy. I only have 5. I'm now already on slide 3, and then we're getting into the meat of it, which is to hear from you. So at SysAid, our mission is to liberate organizations by putting AI to work for them and their people, and to really simplify IT service management and empower IT teams to focus on what matters most. We believe that IT teams shouldn't be bogged down by repetitive, low-value tasks. They should have the tools they need to drive strategic projects and move the business forward. So, second last slide, I promise. So this is where Sysaid Copilot comes in. It's our generative AI-powered assistant, and it's designed to work hand in hand with IT agents, admins, and end users. So Sysaid Copilot is like your team's new best friend. For IT agents, it provides tailored, contextual responses to service tickets, helping to prioritize work and solve issues faster. And for end users, it's available 24/7 to handle common service requests and answer questions instantly, without having to wait for anyone to come back online. So what really sets Sysaid Copilot apart is the ability to empower IT teams while really maintaining trust and control, right? Because we know that there's sometimes a lot of skepticism or cynicism when it comes to AI. And I think that the approach that Sysaid Copilot takes is a great differentiator for us from some of the other vendors. And it's not about replacing people. It's about giving your team the freedom to work and focus on the stuff that really matters. So we've seen it with hundreds of customers that have started their Sysaid Copilot journey with us. We've seen it reduce ticket volume, improve first contact resolution rates, improve end user experience, and really so much more. So last slide before we invite Garen to share some insights from his Sysaid Copilot journey. So for those that might want to check out more on Sysaid and our Copilot offering, we're actually offering a end of year success pack. It's designed to help you kickstart your generative AI-powered ITSM journey, and it really features exclusive tools and resources to accelerate your success. So if you're interested in that, please check out the QR code that's on the screen in front of you. And that's it for the slides, right? So let's jump right in. Garen, I know your team has had a remarkable journey with Sysaid Copilot, and I'm excited for you to share your story. So to start with, can you tell us a little bit about, the challenges that your team was facing first? What prompted you to start to go out and look for an AI-powered solution?
Yeah, sure. So a bit of context for the audience. When I joined the company 6.5 years ago, it's a total refresh of the IT team, and a really, really small IT team, not traditional picking up the telephone, have you turned it off and on again. So I knew coming from another company, a massive conglomerate, that I had to change. So initially brought in Sysaid's ITIL cloud-based solution, transformed our lives. It's been an amazing journey. But over the last sort of 12 months, it's sort of felt like we're playing a bit of catch up. Could be a bit of a bump back from the COVID boom, people coming back to work and more issues coming up. But we were struggling to sort of play catch up with everything. And we're seeing all these other tools and products come out, and we just don't have the resources to get more IT staff in at the time. So we knew we had to scale up without scaling up. So instead of playing catch up and struggling with the low value tasks and not being able to focus on the strategic projects that really do improve the business and improve the cybersecurity and improve the IT infrastructure as a whole, we needed to do something. So despite the massive improvement, we had to do more. So that's when we started exploring an AI solution. So our goal was to reduce the ticket volume by at least 30%, free up the team's time for more impactful work, even freeing up the team's time when someone's on sick or annual leave as well, and just helping the end users get those resolutions done faster and be able to explore our knowledge base as well, because we've written down a wealth of information, but nobody can access it, and there's no nice way to translate that to all of our users.
That's such a common challenge, and 30%, that's an aggressive target, right? And I can say that from experience, we've seen customers that have turned on Sysaid Copilot immediately start getting containment numbers, AI contained tickets of between 15 and 22%. And then it obviously can grow from there. So it sounds like you're well on your way. So it's great that you took a proactive approach, but maybe let's talk about the human part of it. What was your team's reaction, and how did they feel about bringing AI into their job?
It was a mix of emotions. So luckily, being a sort of small, nerdy, close IT team, we've been playing around with all the AI tools since the boom during COVID, I think, was the big boom of AI. So we've been using it and exploring the technology since then with, the image generation and the text generation, having fun, going, this is amazing, but never really thought to put it to practice. Since bringing it in, there was a bit of apprehension. So just due to the industry we're in, there's a lot of conditions that have to be met. We have a lot of regulatory bodies we have to answer to, data security. So all the managers and higher ups had those concerns. The IT team was kind of excited. And after seeing what some of the AI tools can do, there was a little bit of apprehension or concern that maybe even the smaller job roles might be affected, because what if AI can do everything? After seeing some demos from Sisade, all those concerns were addressed, and we sort of got the product in as an early adopter straight away. Spent the first few months playing with that before sort of going to a small beta testers. So it's been a good mix of excitement from our team. For the end users, some have seen it as a bit of a scary tool, hard to convert some people out of their ways. And then some of what we'd call the advanced end users love it. It's not only an IT tool to help them, but they can play with it as well and ask it funny questions. And what that tends to do is sort of spread, hey guys, have you seen this tool? And it's really helped the user adoption in that regard. So we've had some good feedback, mixed feedback from it. One thing we didn't really consider until we deployed it was how it can empower employees in the embarrassment. So we didn't really realize until we were remoting onto machines manually to do some fixes. You sort of look at this desktop and think, why haven't you put a ticket in? You've got all these issues. We could have fixed them. And you end up realizing that people are almost scared to contact IT. They feel like they might be judged for simple fixes, or they're afraid to say they've deleted something accidentally. And seeing this little bot just work on the sidelines, what we found out is it's almost like a non-judgmental coworker that doesn't care if you ask something basic or obvious. It's always happy to help. It's always happy to match the emotion and the tone as well. So people may ask things like, how do I book a meeting room, or how do I add an email signature, which on their first day, they might be a little hesitant to contact IT. But the Sisade Copilot can go straight in, doesn't judge, and just give them the information straight. So that's been a really good emotion flowing through the company with that.
That's really amazing to hear. So AI in Simbec Orion's actually sounds like it's almost like a non-judgmental coworker that you've onboarded there. It actually reminds me, Garen, of something that we learned from Gartner. Earlier, one of the other vendors mentioned, the Gartner AI Magic Quadrant, and I'm happy to, also announce that Sisade is also represented as one of the few ITSM vendors on that quadrant, and we're in the top right position, the box that we'd like to be in. But our Gartner helped us understand that an average of only 59% of employees actually engage with their IT teams for help. And 41% of them basically prefer to either find the answer themselves or ask a coworker. And it could very well be for some of the reasons that you outlined, right? Like maybe they're just too embarrassed to ask, or they don't want to be judged. So it's really interesting that you're talking about like a human element that has made easier or less embarrassing by AI, which is quite something that I think most people would not expect. Did you notice any other unexpected behaviors or benefits like that?
Yeah, so there was initially when we first got the tool and all the IT guys had access, and we didn't release it to the end users yet, and we were sort of playing around with it, just seeing how powerful it was out the box before any training data. Immediately blown away by just the knowledge from the tickets, and I realized, yeah, we need to make sure our data pool is good for that. But then we started putting tickets in other languages or broken English and putting them in a silly o'clock on a weekend, and immediately found out this is amazing. The fact it can just translate a French ticket help in French and translate our knowledge base to the end user in the natural language. And if it can't help, it's able to put the ticket in English to us. And as we respond, it'll go back to the end user in French, and it just makes for a seamless experience rather than us trying to go on Google Translate and botch the language or say something incorrectly. The other thing as well is we have some users based all over the world in places like Australia, New Zealand, the USA, Europe. And so those guys only get a very short window to actually speak to IT about anything. And if we're busy, I know there's nothing worse when I have an issue and I put a ticket in. I just can't wait to get that fixed. So for them, being able to just get that instant answer or even basic guidance so they can start researching themselves, using the natural language at any time of the day has just made a world of difference for those guys. They actually feel supported as if they have a 24/7 colleague looking out for them, and they can ask instant help. I think overall, it's also improved employee confidence. So it's reduced the frustration that can sometimes come with waiting for support. I know all of us working in IT probably have the same thing where we want users to use a self-service portal, but we don't want to use service portals ourselves. We'd rather look for the answers. So this is a great way to just make the IT team approachable.
You know, as the individual who's responsible for SysAid's customers, it's so gratifying to hear how Copilot has made an impact, not just on the tickets, but it sounds like the overall culture of your organization. So that's amazing. So, but let's talk about measurable benefits, right? Because you know, it's great to talk about the human element and how it's changing culture, but what type of measurable benefits are you seeing so far?
Yeah, so we're still very early in our journey. We're looking for a big push on our internal social channels for the new year. So new year, new SysAid is what we're going to be branding it as. But so far, the first contact resolution rates are expected to climb. And we've seen that with the AI reporting. Slowly but surely, they're climbing as users start to use the AI bot. The ticket volume trend is down. I heard someone mention earlier inbox zero as one of the terms for getting emails down. I'm pleased to say this week we've actually hit service desk zero, no tickets for a good few
Wow.
hours, which was a big celebration moment in IT. So we're definitely on track for that 30% reduction goal. The cost avoidance as the company grows is definitely a big win for management too. We're able to demonstrate how an AI can assist us to free up our time and focus on other aspects of the organization to make those projects run quicker as well. I have looked as well over the last 4 weeks to get some stats for today, and I found that since implementing the AI, almost 70% of our email tickets, so tickets not through the self-service portal, have been addressed by the AI without needing any intervention from IT. So it's a massive time saver.
Wow.
It's
Wow,
been a
that's
great
huge.
journey.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And maybe I'll just try and quickly summarize, Ashley. So it sounds like you guys set off with a specific goal in mind, right? You wanted to reduce ticket volume by 30%. It's great and you know the right approach to set goals and objectives for how you'll measure success. And it sounds like you're well on track to realizing that goal, Garen. And you know, we learned that you had some key insights or unexpected learning, right? So not only to be able to offer self-service management, but you're also reaching users that don't normally raise their hands to IT for help. And so you're getting over that average of 59% that most organizations achieve in terms of employees that will ask for help. And also the ability to cater to a global audience, right? So SysAid is also a global organization, customers all over the globe, and in different languages. So being able to offer support in different time zones in different languages is certainly a difference maker for sure. So, Garen, I really appreciate you sharing your journey today with everybody. It really is inspiring to see how generative AI assisted Copilot is not only solving challenges, but also creating this positive effect in empowering your employees, boosting morale, and really positioning, I guess, the IT organization there as more strategic. So, but before we wrap up, do you have any advice for anyone that's considering AI, especially those worried about how it might impact their teams or how their teams might react?
Definitely. Just being conscious on time. I'll fly through them as little bullet points. So we've been through all the 7 stages of grief with implementing IT. So one, definitely make sure your data pool is good, the knowledge base is accurate, even if it means amending your previous service records. But the main thing is positioning IT as an ally, not a replacement. So it's just about making your life easier. My favorite phrase so far is it's the co-pilot, not the pilot. You're still the first captain doing the takeoff, the landing, and it's there just to help you along the long, long journey to a successful flight. So I think the Gen AI tools empower us to focus on what really matters and what we enjoy, because that's why I want to wake up in the morning to enjoy my work and enjoy doing things I love. And if this can take away the repetitive stuff, then it's worth the investment to really get it nailed.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Garen. Appreciate it. And
Thank
Ashley,
you so much.
back to you.
Guys, thank you. It was a really interesting, slightly different flavor of how our presenters have delivered their content today, and thank you both very much. We do have a couple of questions. One has been quite a common thread throughout this morning and this afternoon, but how did you address the security concerns on data being passed on to the AI?
So personally at Simbic Orion, we looked at a number of AI solutions and even tried making some ourselves to keep things on site and secure. What we found is we couldn't really get these major conglomerates like OpenAI or Microsoft and stuff to really dedicate the time to us to ensure the data was safe. But with Sysaid having a closed cloud environment with just your data pool, we're able to talk to those guys and discuss how everything's going to be handled. And that was the key really to ensuring all our data is safe in our environment with all the nice paperwork that your compliance teams are going to love to go through.
Good, thank you. And for you specifically, Garen, were there any recurring themes in the challenges you faced while on your AI implementation?
Yeah, so the main two recurring themes we had, one was definitely trying to position AI as an ally and showing management that it's not a perfect 100% solution. It does have delusions if your knowledge base has some inconsistencies. So one of my favorite ones is we have two products, one called Viva Engage from Microsoft and also Viva Training. The AI often got those two systems confused. So it's really important to get the data pool correct before giving that out to the end users. And the other one may not be a problem for every company, but definitely the compliance issues. Since we have to follow so many regulatory paperwork from all the countries we work in, just making sure that that gets through and everyone in our compliance team is happy with that to go ahead.
Cool, thank you. And when we look at behavioral shifts, really that are being underpinned by technology, so the one that comes to mind is people trusting the process of transacting commercial transactions online, right? So putting in credit cards, et cetera. And in today's environment, we're almost constantly told to be a little bit wary of engaging or interacting or providing personal information. You did cover through the discussion on that there was a mixed response to using AI. So I'm quite interested in for those people that didn't grab it with both hands, the benefits you get are really shaped around all of it, everybody getting used to it and adopting AI. How did you build that trust across your organization, and how did Sysaid help you do that?
So what's really great about Sysaid is they sort of give you all the tools and the training and you can just run with it. You can get professional services to help do things, but I'm a bit of a tinkerer. So being able to have full access, like global admin rights to make it for their organization is a really big help with that. But you're absolutely right. We found that a lot of people have trouble adopting new technology. And like you said, there's a lot of trust as well. Even deploying things like MFA and SSO in our organization, we found that some users still had like an old flip phone because they don't trust smartphones. So really the best way we found to do it is by showing them, do things manually for them like we did before, but also show them, hey, next time you can do this. Or what really does tend to push people is when they do get in that situation where they're almost forced to use it and they get to try it once and they get a flavor for it. If you have someone, working late who doesn't want to adopt the technology, but they need support, no one's around, and then they go, may as well use AI. and then they see it's actually pretty good, and then they start telling their colleagues, "Oh, have you tried this?" And the click almost expands. And there's always going to be some anomalies who don't want to use it at all, but we found just those little small things that happen over time ends up spreading like wildfire through the organization.
Thank you. Anything to add, Francis?
I did see one more question in the Q&A, Ashley, and that was, does SysAid offer a trigger for CSAT or MPS, towards end users and customers? And the answer is yes. We can trigger it off of, closed SRs, but there's also a feedback mechanism within the chat bot itself. So someone can give a thumbs up and thumbs down. Admins will get a quality score. They can fine tune and monitor it. We like to have our customers think of AI as a new employee, right? So there will be an onboarding period and give you the tools to performance manage this employee, right? So that's really kind of the mindset I think you have or you need to have going in.
Francis, Garen, thank you very much for your time and very interesting conversation.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
So as we bring this session to a close, and as I mentioned earlier, I've been in the industry for over 20 years within business development, product development, customer engagement, managing programs, and as a business owner, predominantly on the side of consulting and the training channels within the PeopleCert ecosystem. So for me, this has been a really interesting and informative day, particularly providing some new and interesting insights into AI and how it's being applied to drive significant efficiencies and productivities in our industry. And I hope it has been also a worthwhile time for you and that you feel the same. I think everyone is feeling the impact on the accelerated introduction of AI in our professional and our personal lives. And it's obvious that we've crossed the line of AI not just being futuristic, but managing how and to what degree it's part and how it influences our lives. It's great to see how many key players in our industry are grasping with open arms and driving new and brighter benefits by incorporating it into their solutions. At PeopleCert, we're certainly excited on how it affects our best practice frameworks and how it's changing the application of them in our enterprise customers. So to wrap up, just few key messages. Let me just put them on the screen very quickly. Remember, save the date, 3rd of December 2025, which is be for our next ITIL Tool Day. We have been recording the day, so we will send out the links to them sometime after the session or over the next coming days. And if you want more information, please head to atv.peoplecert.org. And finally, just a few quick thank yous. So to all our presenters today, again, not only for taking the time out to build the content and the contribution to the event, but also doing so in the spirit of thought leadership, sharing your experiences and imparting ideas and guidance to our enterprise and users in the audience. A big thank you to all those who have made this event possible, from our events teams, Alexia and Kyriaki, and Tatiana from our product marketing team, as well as all the others behind the scenes that make this such a success. But mostly to all of you who have attended, taking time out of your very busy schedules to share with us. And I hope you leave feeling that the time is well spent and you've already penciled in the date for next year. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I look forward to meeting with you again in the very near future. Thank you.